So this one has kind of been floating around in my inbox and my DMs for a little bit of time now, and I was kind of thinking about how I can best make a video about this. Should you lie about what your career aspirations are, or should you just say something even if it doesn't necessarily align with the school? Something along the lines of that. So basically, these students that are asking me a question like this are asking, hey, my goal aspirations might not necessarily be like engineering, science, research, or mathematics based, but I still want to get a spot at the school for whatever reason, right? Not that I would recommend that because, you're taking away an opportunity that someone else can really use to push their career and stuff like that. But whatever, regardless, not my place to say if you should or should not try for the school. But these people that are asking me these questions that are like, oh, hey, I'm trying to be a doctor. Should I go to John Monash? Or hey, I'm trying to be a artist. Should I go to John Monash? Like, what should I say in the interview when they ask me about my career goals or if I want to bring up my career goals? What I would say is you don't necessarily want to lie. So you don't want to outright say, oh yeah, I'm really, really interested in engineering when you have absolutely zero thought about pursuing an engineering degree. And you don't want to say, oh yeah, I'm really interested in like biomedical research or biomedical engineering when your real goal is to be a doctor, right? I'm going to try and come up with this bizarre analogy to try and explain why I have the thought process that I do. Let's say that you are making the first impression on new friends from some type of thing. Let's say you go to a new school and you're trying to make new friends. Would you want to lie about all the things that you like and all the things that you dislike? So you'd be like, oh yeah, I really love going to the movies and I really love hiking. When in reality, you'd rather sit at home and play video games or read a book or cook or bake, right? Would you want to lie to this new group of people just so you could be accepted? I would like to think that you would have some character and think, no, that sounds atrocious because then I have to keep up with that lie and I'll be miserable. That's the exact thing that you're doing to the interview now. You are lying about your interests. You are lying about what your goals and aspirations are just so you can get accepted into a group. So just as much as John Monash tries to look for people to be selected into the school, you should also really consider, do I genuinely want to be a part of this school? Do I really want to align myself with these values, even though I want to pursue a dancing career, or that I want to be a journalist? Does going to this school really support me, or does that put extra pressure on me? And that's something that I don't think a lot of people really understand, right? They always try and push to these selective entry schools because they get really good scores and all that kind of stuff. I'll be frank, it doesn't necessarily matter what school you go to because at the end of the day, the only thing that really impacts your ATARs, your study scores, all that kind of junk is really just how you perform yourself, like as an individual. There's schools that are public schools that have a bunch of students that go to it, and there's still students that get raw 50s out of them. There are schools that are selective entry schools, and you still have people that get below 30 in some subjects. This is just the truth, okay? It doesn't necessarily matter what school you go to because the school, the only thing it dictates is the environment. So if you're asking, should I lie about my career aspirations and things like that just so I can get into the school? You have to keep in mind that every other person around you in John Monash, if you do get in, will also be pushing for those careers and those goals, and they'll have similar interests and things like that as well. They'll all be nerds, right? Every single student that goes to John Monash, whether you like it or not, is basically a nerd, right? Like, frankly. Yes, it is important that you do have some career goals and aspirations that are good for you, but you shouldn't flat out lie. Like if your goal is to be a pilot, you wouldn't say, oh, I want to be an aerospace engineer, right? Just say, oh, I want to be a pilot and I'm not necessarily too sure what my engineering and stuff is. Hopefully you should actually have an idea of it, but the reason I'm making this is because I don't want you to try your hardest to get into a school by lying through your teeth, get into it, and then realize that, hey, I actually don't like doing any of these subjects and this is not where I want to go at all. Some people, they do lie and they do eventually end up going down like a degree of engineering or research of some kind because they get influenced by the people around them. But for a vast majority of people that do end up lying, I'd say, hey, maybe the school just wasn't for you to begin with. So just keep that in mind when you are thinking about if you should lie for your interview or not. It's not necessarily about the lie itself, but how would that actually make you feel in the long run? Do you really want to go into a school that only accepted you because you lied? Do you want to be friends with people that are only friends with you because you have similar interests that align with them? That is the million dollar question. That is what you should really be asking yourself. So I am telling you, you shouldn't necessarily lie for your interview flat out blatantly, but you should definitely consider what type of career you should undertake if you were to get into the school. Like, what would that look like for you? So it's important that you do understand that, and it's important that you do heavily consider it, because a lie can really spiral into a whole bunch of different things. But I won't talk about that anymore. I think that this video has kind of explained that really nicely, and hopefully you understand it through my analogies. So long story short, you shouldn't necessarily lie, because when you lie, you have to promote that idea all the way through, and that's just not going to be too sustainable for a lot of people, and it's not going to be the most fun that you'll have at the school. So just keep that in mind for your interview. Anyway, that's it. That's the video. You know the drill by now. Don't like, don't comment, don't sub. Log off and do something else now. See ya.